I take this opportunity to convey all the members that today in this virtual meeting, renowned personality of our profession and income tax department have joined us in this knowledge sharing session on issues on faceless assessment and faceless appeals. After the efforts of e-assessment, government has proposed faceless assessment and faceless appeals in finance budget 2020-29 at 2019. As we know, it has been introduced to end the interface of the taxpayers and income tax department. The scheme has complete process of conducting faceless evaluation. In the budget 2021, government has also proposed the faceless working of ITAT. All the issues in the faceless assessment shall be discussed by the eminent speaker deeply in this session. Now I take opportunity to welcome our guest of honor, who is Honorable CCIT Amritsar, Madam Poonam K. Sidhu. Ma'am, along with her team, has played a vital role in solving all the problems with untiring efforts of stakeholders under her jurisdiction. Ma'am has set an example for making a friendly environment for professionals as well as stakeholders with prompt solution of problems. Whenever any problem was brought to her knowledge, it has been resolved with quick action. During COVID pandemic period, a large number of refunds have been issued by department under her guidance and leadership with the efforts of Honorable Ma'am and her team. Many stakeholders have joined a VSV scheme which has reduced the litigations in appeal. I have used a few words which are very much less as compared to the working the way ma'am has handled the admin work smoothly and effectively. Amritsar branch members are always with you ma'am, for your cooperation. We are thankful to you for sparing your valuable time and joining us today in this session. Now I take opportunity to welcome a very young, dynamic and energetic person who is a great personality of our profession, Dr. CA Abhishek Murali, Secretary of SIRC, Southern India Regional Council of ICI. We are also thankful to you, sir, for sparing your valuable time. Uh, now I request CA Sanjay Roda, Chairman Amritsar Branch, to kindly address the audience.
Thank you, Shashipal ji. Honorable Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Ma'am Poonam K. Sidhu ji, eminent Speaker Dr. CA Abhishek Murali ji, respected departmental representative, esteemed professional colleagues, Ram Ram ji and good evening. I extend warm welcome you to today virtual CP meeting on practical issue with faceless assessment and faceless appeals, which will be taken by youngest elected regional council member of SIRC of ICI, CA Abhishek Murali ji, securing highest number of votes from Tamil Nadu during COVID lockdown. He addressed our 5 lakhs viewers in several webinars on professional topics and creating awareness about the benefit and incentive available to launched by the Government of India and importance of wealth care along with the health care. Honorable Ma'am, we being an integral partner in nation building always stand with the department and appreciate faceless mechanism to make taxpayer life easy and promote voluntary compliance. Commitment in making this department stronger and vibrant. Honorable Ma'am, I extend my gratitude on the behalf of Amritsar branch for resolving regarding refunds, rectification, and Vivase. Special thanks to you has always supported us and sparing valuable time for us from your busy schedule. Members, I assure you that today's session will be illuminating for the attendees. Thank you, Shashipal ji.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. And now I request our Honorable CCAT ma'am to kindly address the members.
Ma'am, kindly unmute.
Ma'am, kindly unmute.
I'm so sorry. It's a privilege to be a part of this session that has been organized by the Amritsar branch. And I must place on record my grateful thanks for the support that I always get from all the members of the Amritsar branch. The Faceless Assessment and Faceless Appeals scheme is a brainchild that has been steered by the Prime Minister with a view to delivering on his election promise of ensuring that there is minimal, tax problems. It is hoped that when the interface is digital, there will be both fairness and objectivity in the manner of framing of assessments, and that people will not need to go to the office, and they can do their tax compliance from the comfort of their homes. These are early days, and we are all in the process of transitioning to the new system. Let us put our best foot forward and attempt to make a success of it. The government is always listening. Please flag your concerns, the problems that you face in complying, and we will ensure that we take these to the concerned quarters. The Directorate of Systems is working almost 24 hours to ensure that bandwidth is available everywhere, that the documents being uploaded are all reaching the concerned quarters, and we are in a critical phase of the faceless assessment, and we need the support of all the chartered accountants and advocates, all the stakeholders, the taxpayers, to ensure timely compliance so that informed decisions are taken and the assessments framed are correct and based on proper filing of information. Thank you, and that's all I have to say. I will be listening and making notes of all the issues that you flag, and will ensure that these are forwarded to the concerned quarters for their information and necessary action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable words. Before start of session, now I request CA Sanjeev Khanna ji to kindly introduce our eminent speaker, Dr. CA Abhishek Murali.
Thank you, Shashi ji. I take this opportunity to introduce Dr. CA Abhishek Murali ji. Dr. Abhishek Murali is a practicing chartered accountant at Chennai, who is a partner of Messrs. Victor Grace and Company Chartered Accountants. As Secretary of the Southern Indian Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the year 2020 and 21. He is also an All India first rank holder in the CIMA strategy examination and All India 17th rank holder in CIMA final examination. He has also secured All India 5th rank in the International Taxation examination conducted by CIOT. Dr. Abhishek Murali is the youngest elected Regional Council member of the Southern Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the 2 terms in succession. For the period 2016 to 2019 and 2019 to 2022. He has the honor of being youngest elected secretary of Southern Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. During his term as secretary, Southern Regional Council of Indian Chartered Accountants of India, SIRC has won the Best Region Award for the first time in more than 10 years. She is an expert in direct taxation, international taxation, litigation, appeal, valuation, due diligence, mergers and acquisitions. Dr. Abhishek Murali has organized and spoken at more than 1,500 seminars, workshops, and conferences. During the COVID lockdown period, Dr. Abhishek Murali has addressed over 5 lakh viewers in the several webinars on the professional topics and the various other topics. Dr. Abhishek Murali was a member of the Committee for Implementation and the Survey for the Faceless assessment and the Faceless appeal proceedings constituted by the Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Dr. Murali is also a visiting professor at the Madras University for MBA students. He has regularly appeared on TV channels and contributed many articles of professional interest in the various newspapers and journals. He has also completed his graduation and post-graduation in commerce from Madras University. Then he has also done the diploma of information system audit ICICI, then CISA from the USA and SEMA from London. He is a graduate in law. Dr. Abhishek Murali has also completed his advanced diploma in international taxation with the CIOT London and has obtained his certification in international taxation and transfer pricing from the Leeds University, Netherlands. Under the guidance of world-renowned Professor Kees Van Lijn. He has also attended special sessions of Harvard University. He is also a qualified independent director on Directors Data Bank online proficiency tests conducted by the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. Dr. Murali is currently a partner of Victor Grace and Company Chartered Accountants and leads the direct taxation appeals litigation vertical. Dr. Murali is a very passionate about startups and went on to establish a vertical to help the mentors of startups. He has been nominated as first secretary of Economy and Trade for the Consulate of Republic of Zambia. He has professionally advised various leading industries, high net worth individuals, and professionals. Dr. Murali has been nominated to the following committees of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, New Delhi. Firstly, for corporate law and of Institute of Chartered Accountants for 2013 and 14. Then again for the same committee for 2015 and 14 and 15.
Thank you,
Now I
Sanjeev.
request you to please proceed.
Thank you, Sanjeev. And now I request CA Abhishek Murali to kindly start your session.
Doctor,
Am I audible, sir?
yes.
Yes, sir. Very much.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. A very, very warm good afternoon to all the participants and delegates who have joined today's program. Firstly, the Honorable Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Poonam K. Sidhu ma'am, gave a very lovely address. In fact, ma'am, you are such a wonderful speaker, very articulate and erudite. It was very enjoyable to just listen to you. And I think not just me, all the members here present would have loved to enjoy your your thoughts, your experiences. I think they would have enjoyed to listen to that. And you've given us a good snapshot of the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. And as I can see from the comments, I have a small request. I request all participants to just mute your mics. So it will be not disturbing the other people there. So maybe the organizers can just mute all, and then whenever required, we can unmute, sir. So I'd like to thank Poonam K. Sidhu ma'am for gracing this event. I feel privileged and honored to be the speaker where ma'am is the guest of honor. Then I have to naturally start thanking the very dynamic chairman of the Amritsar branch, CA Sanjay Arora sir, who's doing a phenomenal job. And the vice chairman, very supportive vice chairman, CA Jatinder Mansil sir. The equally dynamic secretary who immediately got in touch with me as well, CA Sashi Pal. The other management committee members, CA Iqbal Singh, CA Palak Bansal, CA Sumit Jetli, and all the other organizers who helped organize this very, very grand program. And of course, lastly, all the participants and delegates who have joined in today. As ma'am very rightly put it, and as the chairman very rightly put it, this is a very, very important topic. It aligns with what the Honorable Prime Minister had a vision for India, not now, but in 2013 itself, he had announced this. And what we have seen in the last 7 years has been gradually going towards this direction. So this faceless assessment or faceless appeals that we are seeing today, my dear friends, is not something that has suddenly fallen out of the sky. It has been in the works for a long time now, and it has gradually reached this point. And let me tell you something, my dear friends, let me tell you something. All the interactions that I have had with the finance ministry or in my role as a council member representing our institute before the various union ministries for any representation, the one strong feeling that we have got from them is that they are very sincere about this faceless assessment and appeals. So gone are the days where we are fighting, it should not come, this should not happen, it is not legal. All of that is gone, my dear friends. We should no longer argue on that side. Instead, we need to try to work towards seeing how to make it a successful, policy that is being implemented, and how, as chartered accountants, we have to be geared up and prepared to serve our clients in this faceless assessment and appeals era. I will now share my presentation so that we can get started with today's topic. And I will be covering throughout my presentation the faceless assessment, the faceless appeals, the recently announced faceless ITAT also, and certain procedural practicalities involved in it. So let us get started first by understanding when it was launched. What you see on the screen is our Honorable Prime Minister on 13th of August. He had made a very, very grand announcement. This was during the COVID period, and our institute president, all the three institutes, the Costing Institute, CA Institute, CS Institute, all of them had joined. Every single principal commissioner and leading commissioners from across the country had joined. Leading industrialists from FICCI, CAI, etc. had also joined. So therefore, it was a very grand event. And the Honorable Prime Minister highlighted three areas. He said three areas are going to be the fundamental part of this transparent taxation and ordering the honest. He said the first one is going to be faceless assessment. The second one, Montomera, sir, thank you. The second one being faceless appeals. Second one being faceless appeals. And the third one being the taxpayer charter. Now, we are going to critically focus on the first two ones, the faceless assessment and appeals throughout this presentation. So first, before we get started with faceless assessment itself, we must take a minute to understand where we were before this. Because for 40, 50 years, we have been traditionally practicing the manual assessment. What is manual assessment? Either you or your client, he will get a notice from the income tax. And then what he will do? He will bring the notice to you as an auditor. He'll say, sir, I've got this notice. What should I do? So you will say, don't worry, we have to go and make representation. You will take a power of attorney from him as to represent your assessee. You will prepare your submissions. You will go meet the assessing officer. You will discuss and argue the case. And based on your arguments, based on your submissions, you will get either a favorable or an adverse assessment order. And this is traditionally how it is being done. Ladies and gentlemen, subsequent to that, this is a very key point. I'll tell you why. Subsequent to that, the income tax bought something known as email assessment. Please note the word that I'm using here, email assessment, even e-assessment you can call it. Please don't confuse this with faceless.
It's not audible.
Sir, I'm not audible?
You are audible, sir. Very much audible.
There is a lot of disturbance.
Okay, here.
Is there any disturbance or something, sir?
A lot of disturbance.
I think Shashi ji, आप बाकी सबको mute कर दो so that everybody.
Shall I continue, ma'am? Okay, fine. Thank you. So now we will come to this email assessment. The word that I'm using here is critical. It is email assessment or e-assessment. Do not confuse this with faceless. Whenever I have presented across India, wherever I have presented, many chartered accountants say, sir, I have already done e-assessment. Sir, I have already done faceless assessment. Last year itself I did, sir. Sir, last year faceless assessment itself was not there. What you did was email assessment. I'll explain what this email assessment is. Remember, back in some time ago, when you log into that income tax portal, there'll be one tab on the top, e-proceedings. You click on that e-proceeding tab, you will have a list of the cases, the assessment year, under what notice this assessment was initiated or this notice was initiated, and you'll have other certain columns. Back, that is still there now. It is still there now in the faceless era also, that is very much there. But in this email assessment, that is before 13th of August, there used to be one more column when you click that e-proceedings tab. Do you want to do this assessment manually? Do you want to do this assessment manually? You can select yes or no. If you select yes, it will be done manually. If you select no, it will be done through the online. But whether you select manually or whether you select virtual, ladies and gentlemen, it was still the same assessing officer for 40 years. That same ward officer who was assessing your case, that very same gentleman or the very same lady will be assessing your case. So therefore, in these particular circumstances, how successful was it? I give you an example. Naturally, if you have the option between yes or no, I think most chartered accountant and most others are going to select yes, I want physical only, because it's easier. Whatever said and done, it is easier to represent your case. You also get an opportunity to have a cup of tea with someone. They'll give you biscuits or samosa or something. You can enjoy that also in the process. So it's definitely prefer that. And I think in normal circumstances, I think most people, they will prefer a physical assessment. So when you give that option, do you want to do it physically, yes or no? 90% of the people used to do yes. So I also, in one case, I selected yes. I went to the learned assessing officer. I had a cup of tea with him. I argued the case. I gave my written submissions. I signed off the back side of the paper where he's written, he wants to take your submissions that you have appeared. I've signed it off there. And then he made a request to me. He said, Abhishek, once you go to the office, whatever you have given me, please scan it and upload it. I said, sir, I've chosen physical. I have not chosen email. I have chosen physical assessment only. No, despite that, you please do it. It will be better for us on the record. I said, okay, sir, I will do it. No problem. Then what happened? Next case, one challenging officer was there. I said, I don't want to do physical. I do not want to do physical. I will do virtual only. I do not want to go physically. So do you want to do physical assessment? No. I clicked the no button. Then what happened? Next day morning, I got a call. Sir, Abhishek, sir, I understand you are handling this case. Yes, sir, I am handling. You can come to my office today evening. Sir, I have chosen physical assessment. I have chosen email assessment. I have not chosen physical assessment. No, it does not matter. You still come. I said, sir, can I submit online? You submit online also, but I want you to come physically. So end of the day, whether I chose physical or whether I chose virtual, it did not matter. It was still being done in the same manner and it was done with the same assessing officer. Now, I'm not casting any aspersions. I'm not painting any assessing officer with any brush. But the entire ideology behind what the central government thought behind the scheme did not achieve its target because majority of the cases still ended up being physical. It did not become virtual at all. So on 13th of August, this was scheduled to happen on 1st of April 2020. But thanks to the pandemic, on 25th of April, we all went into a lockdown. Since because of the pandemic, it got delayed. Finally, on 13th of August, our Honorable Prime Minister launched the Faceless Assessment Scheme. Under this Faceless Assessment, your assessee in Amritsar is no longer going to be assessed by an assessing officer there. You'll be assessed by someone in Chennai, Bombay, Calcutta, Delhi. You don't know where. It can be anywhere across India. Anywhere across India, an assessing officer can be appointed to assess your assessee's return. Not only that, my ladies and gentlemen, my friends, it will keep changing every year with great difficulty. I have found out that it is a person sitting in Delhi only who is assessing my assessee's case. I am going to go meet him and I am going to tell him what is this assessment order you have passed. Next time, be careful. These are the details. These are everything I am making available. You please ensure that you have understood my explanations. That gentleman will not be your assessing officer next time. It is somebody else. So every year it is going to be changing. It is going to be an entirely computerized process. It is going to be an entirely computerized process. So faceless assessment, please note, dynamic jurisdiction, and it will be uneven across the country. So now, the first important question you must all have had, and maybe many of you are aware of the answers, but there are still many CAs who don't know. What happens to your pending appeals? Sir, what happens to your pending appeals? Sir, I will give you a case. 13th of August, this scheme has been announced on 13th of August, this faceless assessment. I am receiving a notice on 14th of August. Is it faceless or not faceless? Here the answer is clear. after 13th of August. So naturally faceless. Okay, sir, we are clear. Next question. Sir, scheme announced on 13th of August. I got a notice on 10th of August. I got a notice on 10th of August. Will it be physical or will it be under the faceless scheme? Sir, in this time gap is very less. So after all 6 days, your hearing was posted only after 13th of August. So therefore, you will also come under the faceless scheme. Yes, I understand. Very clear. No problem. Sir, we'll take a third scenario. Sir, you've got a notice on 18th of November 2019. 2019. You have made 9 physical appearances before the learned assessing officer. You have got 3 show cause notices. You have responded to each and every show cause notice. You have made all the written submissions. And not only that, your assessing officer said when you went for your last hearing on 20th of March, 2020, he said, Abhishek, I'm happy with all your submissions. It's very good. What you do is you come after 6 days. I will pass the assessment order and give it to you in your hand. Thank you very much, sir. You leave the door. 24th August, our Honorable Prime Minister announces, country is going under full lockdown. So 26th of August, if you want to go to the department, you cannot go. You cannot go to the department. So what happens? Sir, you have gone 9 hearings. 9 hearings, 3 show cause notices, multiple written submissions given, multiple hearings. You have spent several hours in each of those 9 hearings. What happens to your case? Can you still have a physical hearing? No, my ladies and gentlemen. On 13th of August, our Honorable Prime Minister announced this came within 1 hour. Within 1 hour of his announcement, a notification was issued by the CBDT stating all pending cases, barring theft and seizure, barring international taxation cases, all the other pending cases will automatically transfer to the faceless assessment regime. All your pending cases automatically has gone to the faceless assessment scheme. It does not matter whether you have done 1 hearing, half a hearing, 100 hearings, no distinction made. It will be a de novo assessment with whatever material is on record. They will restart it and you can resubmit it under the faceless regime. So you were waiting on 20th of March after 9 hearings, you were waiting for the assessment order to be printed. That assessing officer told you 6 days later you come. Unfortunately, within that 6 days, lockdown has come. It has come under faceless scheme. All those hearings again you have to redo under the faceless scheme. Please note that is a very, very important point. All your pending cases automatically transferred now. So gone are the days where you can have face value. We used to say no. Certain assessees and certain chartered accountants, certain representatives, they have face value, sir, before the department. No more face value. No more mehuna. Everything has to be as per the piece of paper that you are submitting, and it has to be purely a technical based assessment. No longer is it a face based assessment, and it's a very, very important development. Now, before I start with the procedures, before I start with the practical procedures, the first important thing that I must touch upon, especially for chartered accountants, is the communication of notices. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am sure if I ask this question in a physical atmosphere, I used to get so many hands that went up in the once I asked show of hands, they used to raise their hands. How many people give your own, as a chartered accountant, you give your email ID or your contact number for your client? It's a majority of chartered accountants. I've seen across India, majority of chartered accountants, they give their own contact number, their own email ID for the client when they register on the income tax website. Why? The logic was simple. It is easier for you to have control of the data. In fact, at my office also, initially, we used to give our email ID for all of our clients so that we could track. Many clients, when they get a notice, they will not share it with you. Some clients, when they get the notice, they will think it is nothing. Sir, after all, 148, it's an intimation order. They are just processing my return, like that we will say. Then we have to explain to them, sir, 148 is reopening notice. Please share it with me. So many assessees, they don't even know. Some worse assessee, they know half knowledge and they think they know. So that is the worst case scenario. So it is usually better, where as auditors, as chartered accountants, We have control over what communication they're getting. When it is important, we can tell the assessee to share the details. 4 or 5 years back, the department made an update. They said not more than 10 PAN numbers can be registered to a single email ID or to a single mobile number. Now, this was a huge hit because in my office, more than 1,500, 1,600 clients were registered to a single email ID. So what we did, we transported everything to the individual client's email ID and the individual client's contact number. Now, one thing is many chartered accountants have still not done that. How you will know you have not done that? When you log into that income tax website, you will get one pop-up window, no, saying update contact details. 90% chartered accountants, what they will do? Skip. Or that X button we'll put on the top and we'll go next page. We'll go into the portal. So that update contact, every time it will keep on flashing. Every time we'll be pressing skip button. So traditionally, that is what is still being followed by many chartered accountants. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you why. This is an important development. Under the email assessment scheme, before Faceless assessment was launched, even if you put your contact ID, maximum 10 PAN numbers, you have already got more than 1,000 PAN numbers registered to your email ID. So even if you don't receive the communication by email, only the first 10 people you will get communication. After that, you will not get. So even if you don't get the communication, worst case scenario, you used to get at least a physical notice, either to you or to the client. Physical notice used to come. So because of that, you could still go up here and give your submissions. Ladies and gentlemen, please make note. Please make note. Under the Faceless scheme, there is going to be no physical notices, no physical communication. Everything is only going to be on the 3 communications you see on the screen, either by email, on a mobile application, or by SMS or even WhatsApp. So your communication will come only in these 3 formats. Mobile app is still under development. So currently only email and by SMS and WhatsApp you will be receiving the communication. Ladies and gentlemen, under the Faceless scheme, you are not going to get that physical notice. So if your email ID or your SMS, your mobile number is not updated correctly for your client, he will also not get the notice. You will also not get the notice. End of the day, suddenly on demand, he'll get a call from the officer. He'll come and ask you, sir, I have got 144 order. They have passed, it seems. They're asking me for money. What should I do? Both of you will be left to be in a situation where you don't have an answer for each other. So ladies and gentlemen, my first request, my professional brethren and sisters, the first thing you must do is update the contact details. Under Faceless assessment era, contact details is everything. Update the address, update the email ID, update the mobile number. All these 3 are very, very critical for receiving your communication under the Faceless assessment era. So now that we have understood that, let us slowly step into the section. Let us get into the technical aspect of today's presentation. Now 143.3a, this was a provision which was introduced way back in 2018. We are now in 2021. Almost 4 years have elapsed. And in 2018, when they announced this, immediately nobody responded because they thought it's just one announcement, one amendment is coming in the act, nothing will happen. That was the view by most people, including myself at the time. I would have never even imagined that such a incredible scheme like a Faceless scheme will come. But in 2018, they made this announcement, this amendment. I'm not going to read the entire section, but I've highlighted certain 3 words. I just want to highlight this. Eliminating the interface between the assessing officer and the assessee in the course of proceedings to the extent technologically feasible. Sir, we all understood this. Technology is the backbone of this entire Faceless scheme. It's very clear, whether the assessee side, income tax side, whatever side, technology is the backbone. Okay, fine, clear. Next point, optimizing the utilization of resources through economies of scale and functional specialization. You must be finding it very interesting. We would have all studied in our costing textbooks. Economies of scale normally associated with manufacturing sector. Suddenly, income tax department is talking about economies of scale, functional specialization. So what are these things? Please remember that point. I'm going to get back to it in my next slides. But please remember that word, functional specialization. The last one, look at the point number C. introducing a team-based assessment with a dynamic jurisdiction. Now, dynamic jurisdiction, we are all here. Rasi in Amritsar will be assessed by anyone, anywhere across India, Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai, anywhere. It can be anywhere across India. So therefore, we understood dynamic jurisdiction. But what is team-based assessment? What is this team-based assessment? That also, please remember that functional specialization and team-based assessment. Now, let us understand the structure of this faceless assessment scheme. In the center of everything, there is going to be a NEAC or a National E-Assessment Center. This is going to be based out of New Delhi, and it is called the National E-Assessment Center or NEAC. Then there are going to be multiple centers across the country known as regional e-assessment centers. Initially, in the pilot project time, there were 8. Now it has been extended to more than 18 or 20 are there. There will be more and more being added. So there is a NEAC and there is a REAC that is going to be there across the country. That is the structure. There is going to be a deeper structure. In my view, knowing NEAC and REAC is only theory study. The real meat in this topic is what we are known as teams. There are going to be units or what we can call teams. So what are these income tax teams? Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be very, very critical. There are going to be now 4 teams. There are going to be 4 teams. First one, assessment unit. What does this assessment unit do? They identify the issues that need to be raised. They seek information on any other issues and analyze such information. They draft an assessment order. So that is the role of the assessment unit. Sir, clear. Then we have a verification unit. What is a verification unit? They conduct inquiries. They examine books of accounts. They record statements through video conferencing. I'll give you an example. As verification unit, each of these teams are going to have experts in their own area. One case that I had handled pertained to agricultural income. This assessee had claimed some agricultural income in their return of income. What happened is, in the course of the assessment proceedings, they asked what is the proof. You have something called the Tahsildar. You have someone called the Tahsildar in Tamil Nadu. This person will certify whether it is agricultural land. Not only that, what crops were grown there, he will give in the local language. He will give a submission with the details, what hectares, how much was grown, etc. All that he will give you, known as a adangal and a chitta. That is what it is called in Tamil Nadu. So this Tahsildar has given it, saying this so and so, this assessee has grown all this. So naturally, we submitted this before the assessing officer. Subsequently, this was accepted. Assessment order passed, no additions made, clear. Suddenly, 5 years later, reopened. Reopening basis. What is the reopening basis? Find out that this Tahsildar, he has retired now. Tahsildar has retired now. Suddenly, he has withdrawn the statement. He is saying that, no, sir. 5 years back, I gave one statement. I simply gave it because he was asking for a loan. Now, naturally, being an assessee or being an auditor, we are not going to leave it. Where a Tahsildar or where the income tax changes the statement, one fundamental thing that we asked for is cross objection. So I wanted to cross examine this Tahsildar who has changed his statement. And in the course of the cross examination, we asked simple questions. We said, sir, what you are saying is right. Why did you suddenly withdraw the statement? He said, no, at the time, assessee said he is going for a loan. So that is why I simply said he is growing. We said, sir, like this, how many people you have given wrong statements so that they can take loans? Immediately, the Tahsildar, he got scared. He said, no, actually, I got pressure from income tax department. So I changed my stance. Really speaking, at the time, agricultural activity was only going on in the course of the cross examination. So now suddenly the assessing officer, she stopped me. She said, no, we have to stop this entire cross objection. I want the assessee to be present. You cannot come. I issued a summons to assessee. Assessee has not appeared. So you cannot do the cross examination. So we said, obviously, that is separate. This is separate. You cannot do it. They said, no, nothing doing. I to stop this entire cross-examination. They are saying that I have appeared. Nobody has come from the assessee side, and therefore we are going to. Am I not audible? Am I audible? I've just got a.
Sir, you have internet issues, so that.
Oh, okay. So I will let me just reconnect from my mobile data then. Request organizers or somebody to just prompt me in case it's not audible. I'll just quickly reconnect. I'll just quickly reconnect from my mobile data. Sir. Sir, is this okay? Is it better? No?
Yeah.
This is fine? Okay. I request organizers, in case it is not audible or something, please feel free to stop me in between, and you can take the freedom. There's some data issues sometimes with technological advantages. We get some disadvantages also. So I think it's that thing. So thank you. I apologize to all the participants. So coming back, I think as per the chat box, somebody was saying cross-examination point. That is where it got cut off. So during the course of cross-examination, as I was saying, the Tahsildar started taking back his statement. So he got a little scared in my cross-examination, my questions, and then he stopped it. So he said, no, it was correct. It was agricultural land only. The moment I left the room, the learned assessing officer at the time found it appropriate to get a statement from the Tahsildar as if I did not appear for the cross-examination. Summons was issued to the assessee. Assessee has not come in person. So therefore, cross-examination was not done. And hence addition is being made, reopening confirmed, addition made. Now, highly unfair order because it is behind the back of the assessee, but it is an exact situation where the assessing officer was not aware how to conduct a cross-examination in these particular circumstances. So naturally, when we start a cross-examination, we tend to do a recording, audio recording with the permission of the assessing officer and the Tahsildar. So when we went on appeal, we just played that and immediately they said it has to be sent back, new opportunity given. So in this case, we were able to win the case. But in a normal circumstance, there is an art to cross-examination. So now the verification unit is going to have experts. It is going to have experts who know how to conduct inquiries, how to examine books of accounts, how to record statements through video conferencing. All this is going to be done by a verification unit. And then you have something known as a technical unit. Ladies and gentlemen, this technical unit and review unit is going to be the deal breaker for the department. This is going to be what is going to make a difference to the income tax department. I'll explain to you how. Now, I'll give another practical example. One case that I was handling pertained to a company. This company was a loss-making company. It was within the first 2 years of operation only. It was still loss-making. And in the course of the assessment, when it was picked up, the learned assessing officer, he sought for certain details. He said, I want these invoices, etc. I said, sir, I will give it to you. Please give me 6 days time. The department official said, I will give you only 4 days time. You can bring it back within 4 days. So I asked the assessee could not get it. So I went to him on the 5th day. I said, sir, these are the details. I apologize for the delay. Everything else I have submitted. 17 details I have given to you. Last 5 details alone I'm giving to you now. I apologize. He said, I'm sorry, Abhishek. Order has been passed. I'm sorry, the assessment order has been passed. Now, when I went through the assessment order, what he has done, he has passed a 144 order. Forget the 17 things I have submitted. Assessee has not produced the details sought for from him. Hence, the entire on the sales, we are doing a presumptive calculation. 8% of sales is the profit. Hence, the entire profit of 8% is being brought to tax.
Hello.
This is a loss-making company, ladies and gentlemen. It is a loss-making company. So even 8% profit is extremely difficult for the assessee to pay. So what happened? When this case came to me to go on appeal, I said one thing only. I said, in the first hearing, we'll win the case. The first hearing, we'll win the case. We went on appeal. In the appeal, I had to make only one point. All I had to say is that presumptive taxation is not applicable to companies at all. How can you do 4480 where it is a company? Presumptive taxation is not there. Now the CIT appeals, you're shocked. You're saying how this assessment order has passed, who passed this order? How can they pass an order like this? It seems to be highly beneficial to you. I said, actually, it is bad for me. But the thing is, you actually do the research. The assessing officer who passed the order, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a very practical scenario. It happens across the country, where the assessing officer who passed this order, for 15 years, he was in the exemptions ward. He was handling all NPOs, he was handling all trust cases, charitable society cases, etc. He is not familiar with corporate taxation. Within 1 month before the time barring date, he has been transferred to the corporate ward. 1 month before time barring date, he is transferred to the corporate ward. And suddenly he is told 43 associates he has under his charge. For 43 associates, within 1 month, he has to raise the issues. He has to send the notices. Then he has to go through all the notices which have come, responses that have come. He has to come up with his own responses, judicial precedents, judgments, etc. Respond to that. And after that, he has to hear the assessment proceedings, conduct the assessment proceedings, and pass an effective order within 30 days for 43 corporate assessees on provisions he is not familiar with at all. And this is a situation many income tax officials face across the country, where they're put into a circumstance by a transfer or by other circumstances, and last minute they are faced with a huge work burden. I am telling you, my friends, it is a huge matter of pride that they still, despite all of these difficult circumstances, they are still passing effective orders. It's a huge matter of credit to them. But put in anybody else's shoes, like the case that I was handling, an assessing officer, 15 years in exemption ward, he naturally could not come up to speed with the corporate law provisions within his time barring date. So that led to poor assessment orders. In this case, it benefited me because in appeal, I could easily win the case. But there are numerous cases across the country where there are high-pitched assessment orders being passed because the assessing officer either does not know or does not have enough expertise in that particular area. This, my friends, this is the area, my friends, where this technical unit is going to make a huge difference. This technical unit, under this technical unit, the department now, they are going to set up specialized experts. Now I give you a simple example of presumptive taxation. You take a matter of capital gains, exemption under section 54F. What does 54F say? The assessee on the date of reinvestment should not own more than one house property. Should not own more than one house property. Now we'll take a scenario. I'm assessee. I own one house property. But this house property, how do I own it? It is actually apartments. Built 4 apartments are there on one floor. I have 2 apartments. I broke the wall. I joined them together. So is it one house or is it 2 houses? Now there are plethora of judgments across the country which have conflicting views. Some judgments, what they are saying you have to see each house separately. Some judgments they are saying as long as there's a common entry, that is enough. Some judgments are saying the act says one house, not one unit. So it can be 2 units joined into one also. There are some judgments saying, see the electricity meter. If there are 2 electricity meters, that means it is 2 houses. So many conflicting decisions are there across the country. So many conflicting decisions across the country. So therefore, how will an assessing officer who's in exemptions ward has 10 days to pass the order and learn the entire corporate law, corporate tax? How is he going to pass the effective order? So now, under the Faceless scheme, there is going to be a technical unit. The technical unit will have experts in each area. Oh, you have capital gains doubt? We have a capital gains team. Oh, you have accounting standard doubt. Yes, 30, 31, 32. Till date, whenever I read those standards, I will get confused. That confusing those standards are. Every time I read 30, 31, 32, I'll get confused. So they'll have accounting standards. We have a specialized team. Oh, it's a matter of PGBP. We have a specialized team. So therefore, there's going to be specialized teams for each particular area. So if I am an assessing officer, I've got a capital gains case of 54F. I don't know. 2 houses, 1 house. I'm not sure. What do? I make a reference to the capital gains team. I say, please give me your views. They will say, sir, in your jurisdiction, your assessor's jurisdiction, they are saying it should not be, we should not be considering 2 houses. So therefore, please disallow the exemption. Please make an addition. Like that, you will get the views from the capital gain team with case laws. So this technical unit is a deal breaker. Remember, we studied in the first slide, functional specialization. Functional specialization. This is only that functional specialization, where you are functional experts in each area. Next, another deal breaker for the department, review unit. Now, I am someone who enjoys appeals. I regularly go and appear in appeals at the ITAT level. And one very common thing that anybody who does appeals will understand is we never start drafting the appeals, the grounds of appeals, on the merits of the case. We always start with the technical grounds. If we can win the case on technical grounds, then no need to go for the merits at all, however right it is. Multiple cases where we have won purely on technical grounds. I'll give you an example. Section reopening of assessment 147, 148. Is there a procedure laid down in law? If you read the Bar Act, there is no procedure. But you go to GK and Drive Shaft, 2003 Supreme Court decision. They have laid down the law as to how reopening of assessment should be handled. It is a judge-made law. What does this judge-made law say? Sir, when you get a notice under section 148, you must first file a return in response to the notice. Then what you should do? You can seek the reasons for reopening. The assessing officer must give the reasons of reopening. He must furnish the reasons for reopening. The assessee can then raise his objections to the reasons of reopening. Subsequent to this, the assessing officer is duty bound. The assessing officer is duty bound to dispose of each of those objections. Only after all of this procedure can he even start the reassessment proceedings. He cannot even start the proceedings without going through this entire procedure. Multiple cases are there where I ask for the reasons of reopening. They don't give the reasons for reopening. I raise my objections to the reasons. They do not dispose of these objections. Ladies and gentlemen, these are decisions where when I go on appeal, all I have to do is, however correct the additions, whatever reassessment they have done, absolutely correct. You look at the merit of it, they're 100% right. Nobody can dispute. Even the assessee himself, he cannot dispute it. So when that is the case, how likely is it you'll win the case? On technical grounds. Why? Once again, it is a situation where the assessing officer either is unaware or his technical competence in drafting may not be that high. We have something known as a speaking and non-speaking order, where one case that I handled, 14 objections, 14 additions made. 14 additions made in the assessment order. Guess how long that assessment order was? That assessment order was 2 pages long for 14 additions. 14 additions, front and back. It is still one sheet of paper only, front and back. So straight away an appeal, non-speaking order, remanded back to the assessing officer to redo the entire assessment. Now, by that time, the assessing officer may have transferred, you may have got someone who knows the law, so you can actually make your representation. Various things can come out of it. But the point is, department have to suffer the usage of resources for such a prolonged period of time. Now, they have a review unit. So what does this review unit do? What does this review unit do? The review unit will go through the assessment order. Sir, what is this assessment order? Has the assessee raised objections to your reopening of the reasons? Yes, sir, he has raised. Have you disposed of the objections? No, I have not disposed. Please dispose it and redo this assessment order. This review unit will give the directions. Then they will say, sir, have you considered all the points they have done? Yes, I have. How many additions? 14 additions. How long is your order? 2 pages long. Please make it a speaking order. Explain why you are making each additions. Make the changes. The review unit will review each order and they will give suggestions saying this is what needs to be done, this is how you need to improve it. Once again, from an appellate point of view, this is a deal breaker for the department. It is going to make a huge difference for them. So my dear gentlemen and ladies, these are the 4 units of the entire department: assessment unit, verification unit, technical unit, and review unit. We already understood now functional specialization. I still left one point. Team-based assessment. You remember I used the word team-based assessment. What is this team-based assessment? All this last 20 minutes, what we are studying about these 4 units, what they are doing, all of this was done by a single person. It was all being done by a single assessing officer. Now you have 4 different teams, 4 sets of experts in each of those teams who are going to make this entire assessment order. So 4 teams are going to work on a single assessee, Look how the tables have turned. So therefore, the effectiveness of an assessment order is going to go up manifold. It is going to go up manifold under this department. Now, we have talked all theory, etc. Let us take a simple scenario. Today, your assessee is going to get a notice under this faceless assessment era. So when he is getting this notice, how are you going to handle this notice? If you get a notice under the faceless assessment era, what is going to happen? Now, when you see this page that is there on your screen, don't get scared. So many lines, so many boxes are there. That is not the case. I try to compress the entire faceless scheme at a glance into a single page in a very understandable manner. So now look at the center. In the middle of everything, you can see my cursor. You please follow my cursor, and there are arrows which are numbered. You can follow the serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. If you follow, you will be able to understand it. So in the middle of everything, you have something called the NEAC, or rather the National E-Assessment Center. They are like the brain. They are the brain for this entire faceless assessment. So what do? The NEAC issues the notice. Please note, not the assessing officer, the NEAC. The NEAC issues the notice to the assessee. So the assessee gets the notice. The assessee has to submit his response to the NEAC. So I give the response to the NEAC. Now the NEAC, what they will do? Next to the NEAC, if you see arrow number 3, they will assign the case to assessment unit. This assignment is totally computerized. It will not be an assessing officer in your region. You will not even know. It will be assessed. It will be assigned on a computerized random basis to anyone across the country. Why? Multiple reasons. One, because of faceless. One, there have been situations where, unfortunately, multiple scenarios. I mean, you may have seen the movie, very, very famous Ajay Devgan movie called Raid, where he goes to a mafia's house and he is harassed over there. The entire town will come and chasing after the income tax department. It is all real. It is all real. They may have made a movie about it. It is based on true instances that have happened. So if I am an assessing officer and I am assessing an assessee who is a big gunda in that city or in that town, when I am saying show cause notice, I am going to make 4 additions for that assessee. By the time I leave my house and leave the office and I go to my house, there will be 4 gundas waiting outside my house, 1 for each addition I want to make. So in these circumstances, even though it comes off like a joke, in these circumstances, assessing officer cannot pass an effective order because he is under some threat. His family is under some threat. He is under some duress. So therefore, you relieve it, put a dynamic order, put someone anywhere across the country. So the NEAC will assign the case to an assessment unit anywhere across the country. Next, what happens? This assessment unit, they are going through all the responses you have submitted. Then what they are saying, this is not enough. What they have given is not enough. I want more information. So what happens? Assessment unit, please follow arrow number 4A. They request for more information. To who? They do not write directly to the assessee, my friends. They write to the NEAC. So the assessment unit will write to the NEAC saying, I want more information. The NEAC only will communicate with the assessee. The assessee has no face time with the assessment unit. So therefore, the NEAC will write to the assessee saying, I want more information. Please give this information. Then assessee, he has to submit this information back to the NEAC. NEAC, once again, they will send it back to the assessment unit. So assessment unit, they wanted more information. They've got it. Then they are saying, what is agricultural income? Whether really it is agricultural land. How will I check? I'm an assessing officer sitting out of Delhi. assessing an assessee who's based in Chennai. How am I going to check whether the land is agricultural land or not? I need someone to go and verify the land. So I request, please follow arrow number 4B, the assessment unit. Request for a verification to be made to the NEAC. The NEAC in turn, what they will do, they will allocate a verification unit. Yes, I'll put a unit in Chennai. Yes, I'll put a unit somewhere else in Tamil Nadu who will go and check it. So this verification unit, they will go, they will check whether really agricultural land, whether any crops are grown there. They will give a report. They'll give the report to who? Again to the NEAC. Very, very interesting. Even the units, even the teams, they do not converse between each other. Everyone talks only to the NEAC. So the verification unit, they will give their report to NEAC. NEAC only will forward it back to the assessment unit. So now I wanted more information, I've got it. I wanted land to be verified, it has been verified. Now what will happen? Capital gains. 54F issue. 15 years I have been in exemption ward. I have no experience in capital gain matter. What do I do? Assessment unit, please follow arrow number 4C. They request for technical assistance. So the assessment unit will say, I want technical assistance on this matter. So they'll send it to NEAC. NEAC will see, oh, capital gain matter, is it? Okay, we'll put the technical unit for capital gains. So they'll pass it to the unit which is the expert in capital gain matter. So they will go through the information. They will say, okay, these are the facts of the case. It's okay. You please allow 54F. No, it is not okay. Make an addition. Disallow the 54F exemption. Like that, the technical unit will give the suggestions to NEAC. NEAC, once again, they will forward it back to the assessment unit. Now, I wanted more information. I've got it. I wanted verification. It has been verified. Sir, I wanted technical assistance. That also I've got. Can I finally pass my assessment order? Yes, you can pass. But you're passing what is known as a draft assessment order. You're passing what is known as a draft assessment order. Why? Why am I passing only draft assessment order? Because review unit, my dear friends. So the NEAC will forward it to the review unit. Review unit will go through it. Yes, you have drafted it very well. Yes, you have covered all the additions. Very good order. You proceed. No. What is this? You have made additions, but you have not brought out the reasons in your order. Please go redraft the order. Please redraft the order. Like this, the review unit will give suggestions. They'll give their feedback. They will send it to the NEAC, who will once again forward it to the assessment unit. Now you'll be thinking, Appa, finally, can you please pass my assessment order? No, sir, they are still going to pass what is known as a draft assessment order. Now you'll say, Abhishek, what? After so long, so many steps, so many procedures, still you are saying only draft assessment order. Yes, but this is a very good move. I'll tell you why. One more example. And many chartered accountants have faced this issue. Now in December 2019, when the department was under pressure for the time barring date to pass assessment orders, in one case that I handled, it was a penny stock case. This assessee, it was a penny stock related matter. The assessee, based on the advice of his friend, he has gone and purchased. So he has claimed exemption, but actually he should not have claimed. The amount was a small amount. But in his case, he was genuine. Genuinely, he got the news from his friend. He has the email also from his friend. Everything we have produced before the assessing officer. And almost 8 or 9 hearings, assessing officer told very clearly that we are going to make the addition. Likelihood we will make is very high. So I told the assessee, see sir, it is a mistake on your part. It's a penny stock. Department hands are tied. They will be making the addition. Assessee also said, yes, okay. I'm willing to pay the tax. No problem, sir. I will pay the tax. So great. Everything sent. Finally, what happened? Finally, when the assessment order was passed, there were 2 additions. There were 2 additions made. First addition was what? Petty stock, disallowance under section 1038. Okay. Second addition, unexplained movement in capital. The assessee has failed to explain why the capital has moved substantially by several lakhs. So therefore, addition made for the entire amount. Now, assessee is shocked. In 8 hearings, in 2 show cause notices issued, despite all of this, that person, in all the 8 hearings, in all the show cause notices, in all the communications, never has he raised an issue pertaining to capital movement. Capital movement was not raised at all. It was not raised at all. However, suddenly in the assessment order, I'm finding that this has been raised. Now you may say, Abhishek, go on appeal. You can win the case. You can get a remand. Yes, but I want to come under the scheme, the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme that our Honorable CCIT ma'am very beautifully highlighted. You want to come under that? I cannot cherry pick issues. I cannot say, yes, on penny stock matter, I will come under the scheme, but on the capital movement, I will fight in appeal. I cannot do that. I have to choose the entire assessment order to come under the scheme. It is not an issue under which I can go to rectification either. I can't go under 154 for this because it is not a prima facie issue. It is not a prima facie error on the record. So I cannot even go under 154. So where does that leave me? That leaves me in a situation where if I go under the scheme, I have to pay under a high-pitched order, or I have to fight in appeal and risk paying penalties on the penny stock matter. So therefore, I'm in a catch-22 situation, not for any fault of the assessee. It is because the learned assessing officer has, behind the back of the assessee, made a second addition on which we could have easily explained. In this assessee's case, he has received 3 LIC policies in maturity. Huge amounts he has come. So he's saying, sir, that is the reason. If he just looks at the maturity policy, looks at my bank statement itself, he'll know it is LIC. But now he's saying capital has moved. It's a very, very unfortunate scenario. And this is only one example. Many chartered accountants across the country face this challenge where assessing officers at times, they make an addition which has not been discussed at all, when finally passing the order. Now, under the Faceless scheme, this is something that we were fighting for heavily. Almost 8-9 years I've been raising this issue, where before the final assessment order is passed, an opportunity or a show cause notice must be issued to the assessee. It is at the option of the assessee whether he wants to object to it. It is an option of the department also whether they want to accept those objections or not. But a show cause notice must be issued so that at least worst case scenario, when I file a writ or when I go for a stay, you can see that I have raised this issue from my end. So therefore, now the department have brought that in the Faceless scheme, where even after assessment unit, even after verification, even after technical unit, even after review unit also, after everything also, a draft assessment order will be made and a final show cause notice will be issued to the assessee. We are going to make the following additions. Do you have anything to say? At this stage, you can still raise any other issues that you want to have. You can still object to the additions that they want to make. Only after all of this, you will then finally pass a final assessment order. So look at all the steps involved. So I hope now this chart is clear. Initially, when you looked at it, so many boxes, so many lines. But now I'm sure you'll be able to appreciate how this entire flow of transactions works when it comes to the Faceless assessment scheme. So only after all of this will the final assessment order be passed. Now that brings me to the important question. Because the moment I say this, many people will be asking the question, sir, when you say this, how long it will take to pass the assessment order? Now, for the benefit of the assessees, the time barring date for passing assessment has not been increased. It still remains the same. So that means the entire thing will be done within 12 months. And not only that, my experience, so far many Faceless cases I've already handled. And in my experience, in a matter of 2 weeks, from the date I get the first notice, within 2 weeks, the assessment order is passed and you are getting finality in the case. And if you are getting an adverse order, penalty is also being initiated immediately. That is the experience that I've had. So therefore, normally earlier when it was physical or when it was email assessment, it used to take at least 6-7 months for you to complete the assessment. Now under the Faceless scheme, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, not more than that, my dear friends, the entire assessment is being completed. Look at the speed. Look at the speed of happening of the assessment. So that is what is now going to happen under the Faceless era. Now this is just a sample of the notice. By now, I'm sure many of you would have started receiving a lot of your notices which is coming under the Faceless assessment era. But if you have not seen it, this is how your notice looks. Normally at the top, what you see, the red color box, where it will say the ward of the assessee will come over there, corporate ward, non-corporate ward, like that exemptions ward, all of that will come at the top. Instead, now, there's no concept of ward and all. You only have a single NEAC team. Similarly, below also, the signing authority will not be the name of the assessing officer. It will be all the designations. It will be assessing officer, assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, joint commissioner. All their names will come over there. as the signing authority. You don't know who it is. So this is what it looks like. So now the next important question. There's a gentleman or a honorable lady who has studied for their UPSC examination. They have rejected IAS, they have rejected IFS, they have rejected IPS, they have selected IRS. They have come here now, and suddenly you are saying faceless assessment era. What is going to happen to them? What is the role of your jurisdictional assessing officer? I want to say, don't worry, your jurisdictional assessing officer still has a very, very important role to play. But the work has watered down. The work has watered down. So what does your jurisdictional assessing officer do? Once the assessment order is passed, you will get a call, no, sir, please ask your client to pay. He has not paid. If you're going on appeal, pay 20%. That collection and recovery of demand still retains with the assessing officer. Then rectification under section 154. So they still have the power to rectify any error apparent on record. Give effect to an appellate order. Give effect to an appellate order. That power also remains with the learned assessing officer. Finally, proposal to launch prosecution proceedings. Maybe CCIT ma'am can clarify further on this, but my experience is in the last 6-7 years, the number of prosecution cases has gone up substantially. And I would say at least 75 to 80% of the cases that are on appeal, I would say in 75 to 80% of the cases, the department has good reason to initiate prosecution proceedings. They have good reason, but out of the goodness of the heart, because of their kindness, they have not initiated. But now, when the powers of the assessing officer is gone away, jurisdictional assessing officer powers have been taken away, it is possible through human mentality and because of targets or whatever may be the direction given to them, prosecution proceedings may be initiated. They have every right to do it. They have been kind enough not to do it in the past, but you may find there may be an increase in the launch for prosecution proceedings. So please be ready on that angle, compounding of offenses, etc. Please ensure that you are well equipped in those particular areas. So can I opt out of faceless assessment? My SSC has been selected in faceless assessment. They have an option to say, no, I don't want to come under the scheme. You don't have an option. But in the following cases, faceless assessment is not required. Cases of international taxation and transfer pricing will not come under the scheme. Now, interestingly, search cases and the survey cases will not come under the faceless regime. Search and survey, both will not come. Now, survey powers have been taken away from the jurisdictional officers and it has now gone to the central circle. Whatever is your 8th circle or your investigation wing, it has gone to them. It is no longer with your assessing officer. Only the TDS authorities and the central circle have the power to even start survey also. So such and survey cases will not be covered under the faceless scheme, probably because the volume of evidence must be extremely high. So it may be impractical. It may be impractical for them to do a faceless regime because you cannot keep shipping the data to one region. The next one, where assessment has been set aside by appellate authorities. There was a case in Madras High Court sometime in March or April. This judgment had come called Sri Salem Sri Vilas Chit Funds. In this case, what had happened is that it was a faceless assessment or EE assessment, however you want to call it. And in the course of that assessment, the assessee was not given an opportunity. He was replying constantly. He was making a reply on the income tax portal saying, please give me an opportunity. The data you're asking for is voluminous. I'll come and produce it physically. Please transfer it here. That was not being done. And he could not upload the data also. Why? Only 9 files you can upload, maximum 5 MB each. How you will upload? It's not practical for you to upload. So therefore, he said, please give me an opportunity. No opportunity given, order passed. Huge demand, high pitched demand. Pay 20%, pay 20% if you are going on appeal. So what the assessee did, assessee filed a writ in this case. He filed a writ and he went on the writ. I request Venkatesh sir to please mute himself. Thank you, sir. So what happened in this case? The assessee, he went to the High Court in a writ. The High Court held, in this case, the High Court held saying that in this particular case, whether you are doing faceless assessment, excellent. Transparency, very good. Transparent taxation, excellent. You want to honor the honest, very good. But at the same time, you must be reasonable. where the assessee cannot upload. You're asking for details. If it is not possible to upload, then how can you ask him to come and submit it if he's not giving passing ex parte order? That is highly unfair. So therefore, you redo the assessment, go back to the physical officer and redo the assessment. This is the only case which has come so far when it comes to this faceless assessment or e-assessment. Only one case has come, and this has been the only case which has happened in that. So therefore, faceless assessment also has to be pragmatic. And there are some situations, practical scenarios which I have faced. In some of the cases that have been referred to me, one auditor was handling a case. This assessee has 15,000 crore turnover, 15,000 crores turnover. What has happened is it has got picked up in faceless assessment. So what is the assessing officer asking? He says, give the details of invoices of your sales. For how much? 15,000 crore turnover company. Give the invoices for your sales. Then your expenses, how many salaried expenses you have salaries and wages you are paying. For your expenses of your salaries and wages, what details do you have? Can you produce the pay slips for the employees? Pay slips for employees. How many employees? 600 employees. Monthly pay slips you have to produce for 600 employees. Whether practically possible? Normally in manual assessment also this was not expected, but yet you're seeing this under the faceless era. So there are going to be certain challenges, my dear friends, under the faceless era, where there are going to be scenarios where sometimes due to the random nature of the allocation of the faceless assessment, your assessee with this 15,000 crore turnover, he may be given an assessing officer who's based in Andaman. He may be based somewhere in the corner of Kerala, which is a fairly residential area. So there are no businesses, there are no big industries. So when assessing officer over there is selected, his experience is checking almost 100% of the data because it is not much. It will take him 2 days time. He can verify entire thing. So now for whatever he was doing for that 1 crore turnover person, he is applying the same logic and rationale to the 15,000 crore turnover company. So therefore, even though it is in a rather good-hearted move, it is impractical to do it. So there are going to be scenarios like this. And trust me when I tell you, there are many cases. In fact, I'm also part of the suggestions and survey committee, which has been constituted by the finance ministry on this faceless assessment and appeals. That is something we have raised. And I can tell you quite frankly, my experience in this committee is in the last 4 to 5 months since the constitution, we are having constant updates where we have been giving, and the department, CBDT and the government have been very, very receptive. They are not saying, why are you talking nonsense? They are saying, okay, we understand, we will correct it. And initially, when the faceless assessment was launched, there were many cases where the details sought for, like the example I told you, 15,000 crore turnover, give the sales invoices, give pay slips. Like this, many associates were facing the problem where the details sought for was excessive. It is impossible to upload also. Even if you want to give the details, you cannot upload in the income tax portal. So when that is the scenario, it is impractical to do that. So what is the solution? The number of cases has reduced like that. It is not happening as much as it was before. Number of cases, number of details sought for has also reduced in the last 4 to 5 months. So similarly, any other problem that we are raising, it is being tackled very, very instantly. So I must appreciate the government, CBDT and the income tax department for being very receptive to the corrections and suggestions we have been giving. The next case where faceless assessment is not applicable, where there is no internet connectivity or notified areas. For notified, naturally, you take J&K for that matter, Jammu and Kashmir, for almost 14 months, they did not have internet. So therefore, I am an assessing officer sitting out of Amritsar. I am issuing a notice to assessee based in Jammu and Kashmir under faceless era. Sir, please submit the details. First notice. Second notice, you have not responded. Give me the details. Third notice. Sir, one more last opportunity. If you don't submit, 144 assessment. After that, 144 assessment passed. So whether that assessee there, he cannot even message his wife, his son who are sitting. He cannot talk to his neighbors and send an email. Whether he is going to be able to check what income tax notice has been coming. So it's not going to be practically possible. So where you have poor internet connectivity, where it is a notified area, in those cases, the DGIT or the principal commissioner, they have the power to say that you need not come under faceless assessment for this particular time limit or this particular area. And finally, in exceptional circumstances, owing to administrative difficulty, Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax may record a reason for manual assessment and he can write to the NEAC for particular cases. Now immediately hands will go up. Sir, Principal Commissioner, my friend, Sir, Principal Commissioner is related to me. I'll go and make a request to say in my case you do manually. Sir, please note. For them also, every case is going to be written all the way to the top of the NEAC. Every case will be examined. They cannot simply because you're a relative or a friend, they cannot help you like that. So therefore, they'll also be very, very careful. So please note, this faceless assessment is very much here to stay. It is very much here to stay, and we must be ready for it. Similarly, faceless penalties is also very much a reality. As I told you, now the time limit for completing your assessment has become very short. Within 2 to 3 weeks, the assessment is being completed, and penalty is also being immediately initiated side by side with the assessment order. Normally, what we are used to seeing, penalty under section 271(1)(c) will be initiated separately. When it will be initiated, normally 6 months later, before that time barring date, that is when it will be initiated. That is what we have generally experienced, and we generally after the order is passed, we forget about it. Nowadays, as soon as the assessment order is passed, penalty notice is also being sent. Penalty notice is also being sent. Please be prepared. Please be prepared for penalty also when you're getting the adverse order. Please draft all your submissions and be ready for it. Your NFPC or the National Faceless Penalty Center, everything NASC, NFPC like that, one alphabet only will change. So the NFPC, National Faceless Penalty Center, is going to be handling this. They are also going to have 2 teams, one penalty unit, one penalty review unit. So one team, they will see the penalty and they will draft the penalty. There will be one review team where they will review the drafting of the penalty order. Now this you think is okay. There is also what is known as a faceless appeal scheme. Faceless appeal scheme. Now this faceless appeal is extended to ITAT also, but under CIT appeals also faceless appeals is there. Under faceless appeal, 3 teams are going to be there. Penalty we saw 2 teams. Under faceless appeal, 3 teams. What are the 3 teams? There's going to be NFAC, RFAC, and appeal unit. How it will work? How will this team work? The NFAC, RFAC. So 3 units. 3 AU appeal unit 1. At random, they will select any appeal unit to handle the case. They will take up the hearing. They will pass a draft order. Then it will go to appeal unit 2. It will go to appeal unit 2. What will appeal unit 2? They will look at what appeal unit 1 did and they will give suggestions. Sir, please do these changes. Please make these enhancements. CIT appeals has the power of enhancement. So you make enhancements, make an addition, make all of these changes. Assessment unit 2 will do. Then it will go to assessment unit 3. There's going to be a 3rd unit. So they will check what assessment unit 2 did, whether it is correct, whether everything is okay, whether 1 and 2, everything is right. So it's like a question, who will audit the auditor? Like that only this is. So there are going to be 3 units, AU 1, 2 and 3. And 3 will check whether assessment unit 2 have done a good job. Assessment unit 2 will check whether assessment unit 1 have done a good job. So all of this is going to happen under the faceless appeal scheme. So who is not covered under the faceless appeal scheme? Cases of serious frauds, cases of major tax evasion, sensitive matters. I don't know what sensitive matters is. We don't have a definition as yet. But sensitive matters and black money cases will not be covered under this. Such cases will not be covered under the faceless appeal scheme. So that is okay. We have understood. Finally, we come to the faceless ITAT also. Now, this is going to be a very interesting development because I think most people did not expect the ITAT to be going in the faceless route. The reason being, there are a lot of soft matters. There are a lot of soft matters in the ITAT. In this budget, our Honorable Finance Minister said ITAT is also going to be faceless. But when I say soft matters, what do I mean? Let's take another example. One case that I handled, this is also why abuse of survey powers by certain assessing officers. One auditor who was handling one assessee's case, he had handled the case, he had made all the submissions, but for some reason, the assessing officer suspected the assessee is lying and went on to make an addition. Unfortunately, the addition was extremely high-pitched. By far, this is one of the most high-pitched assessments I've ever seen, where the assessee has given some money, it has been treated as a joint venture, and as if the entire township has been completed, pertain to a township. Actually, assessee has given some money, has to get the money back, that's all. Treated as joint venture, as if township is completed, market value of the entire township has been assessed to the assessee. Going into several thousands of crores, assessee is saying, sir, I have given money, I have not got anything back. Actually, I am at a loss. Now they're asking me to pay 20%, the 20% also I don't have. What happened, unfortunately, in this case at CIT appeals, the auditor who was handling the case, his relative expired, his grandmother had expired on the date of the hearing. And this particular appeal commissioner in Chennai, first hearing, he'll put the notice itself. When you get the first hearing, it will say final hearing. So unfortunately, in this case, it was once again dismissed ex parte. From 20% demand, 100% demand became due. The assessing officer started hounding the assessee, saying you have to please pay because now 100% demand is due from you. Why you have not given? Please give it, please give. Assessee is struggling because really he does not have the money. Really, it's a notional income. The real ground reality, if you go to the land also, you will see nothing is completed. Complete real estate market tanked. So no progress, let alone township being completed. So that is the case. How can they assess this? But it has been done. So what is the remedy to the assessee? The assessing officer every day was sending inspectors and teams from the department to go sit at the assessor's office and collect money and come. She's saying, I'm not able to function in my business. There's a stigma being attached to me. What do I do? Can we go on a writ? So we filed a stay petition at the ITAT. Now at the ITAT, how it functions is generally Fridays are meant for miscellaneous petitions and stay petitions. So we had filed it on Monday and we informed the assessing officer saying we have filed it. So please wait. Assessing officer immediately ramped up that this is a survey operation we are going to start conducting, and you please, if you don't pay the money, I will do a survey at premises. So every day people were coming between Monday to Friday. See this because the state petition was there, and then she took an oath from the assessee saying that by Friday morning by 10 a.m. I want you to pay the entire money. If you don't pay, I will start a survey and I will convert it into a search. That is the words of the learned assessing officer. This is the scenario he is paying. The real scenario, he's not got a single rupee. And in a high-pitched order, he is being demanded to pay so much money. So it's practically impossible for the assessee to do, and they are threatening survey. So what did we do? The assessee, what he did is he locked his house, he went off to his hometown. And when we went to the ITAT, I requested at the ITAT that I want our case to be heard first. So I said, I request your lordship to please hear this petition. I want to make a mention. So even though my case was posted at number 29 at the ITAT, because of my request, they made it the first case. I represented the case. Luckily, in our case, the ITAT accepted our views. They granted a 1 year stay, or they granted a 6-month stay. And then I requested them in the court itself to make the order. And luckily, the judge did the same. And they directed the department inside the court at the time of the hearing itself, saying in this specific case, do not do any coercive action. Immediately grant the stay, ask all assessing officers and inspectors to stop any actions being done. So we were very, very lucky in this case where we got the stay. It is a genuine case. It is a genuine case. It should get a stay. And we won the case also subsequently. But the fact still remains that the assessee was in the mercy of the learned assessing officer at the time for no fault of his own. So why I am mentioning this point at this what about ITAT? Now under a faceless ITAT, there are some concerns. From people who regularly go to the ITAT, they will tell you that making a mention, getting an adjournment, making certain points in the ITAT cannot be replicated in a piece of paper. Whenever I make my submissions on the piece of paper, certain softer points, because it is like a court. ITAT is exactly like how you're seeing the high court and all you see in the movies, how they'll be arguing, lawyers will be arguing. That's exactly how the ITAT also is. So it is pretty much a court. And when you have certain court procedures, there is a fear that you cannot make the same representation. Unlike your CIT appeals, where it happens in a closed room and it is almost like an assessment proceedings will be. Your ITAT is a proper court. So there was a fear that under faceless ITAT, whether it will have the same effect. But to tell you the truth, it remains to be seen. I think this is a good step in the right direction. We may find a blurring of the faceless, non-faceless at the ITAT level over a period of time, but it is a step in the right direction. I think faceless ITAT is required, and we have made representation on the certain softer aspects. I think it is also under consideration, and maybe when the rules are notified, we will have a better idea how these things will function. Now I come to the penultimate slide, which is how should we as chartered accountants prepare? End of the day, as I told you, faceless assessment is a reality, and the government and the CBDT are also very, very serious in implementing the same. So as chartered accountants, how should you and I prepare for the same? The first one, as I already told you, ensure you update the contact number and email ID of the client to the client tone. Tell your client whatever communication you're getting, even if it is saying acknowledgement of return filed. Even if you're sitting next to me, I don't care. Even if you're sitting on my lap also, I don't care. Wherever you are, please send me all your communication that you're getting. So make that a rule for all your clients. Second, get good scanning equipment. Henceforth, all your submissions are going to be scanning equipment. It is going to be PDF forms. It is going to be uploads. So earlier you used to have an office boy who will go and give things at Tapal. Make sure that person knows how to scan now. So get good scanning equipment, teach people how to scan. Third, very, very important point, improve the quality of drafting and presentation. When I used to prepare for the appeal, when I was learning at a very early stage, when I wanted to get into appeals, I used to read in books and ask people how I should handle an appeal. So they used to say, you have to go sit up straight, wear a blazer, wear a coat, wear a tie, go clean shaven, ensure your hair is neat, look in the eye of the assisting officer and talk, and be confident, all that. So today, whether you're wearing a coat or whether you're wearing your shorts at your house, it does not matter. Whether you're clean shaven or whether you have full beard also, it does not matter. Looking in the eye of the assisting officer, only screen is going to be there. So entire representation that you're making, all the submissions that you're making, before you may have gone and talked in your vernacular. Both of you may have been comfortable in Hindi or whatever is your local mother tongue. You have been talking in that and you will explain the entire case to them over there. Now everything is on that piece of paper, my ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, improving the quality of your drafting and your submissions is very, very, very important. It is the most priority thing that you must give when it comes to the faceless era. So ensure that the quality of your drafting and submissions is much better. Next point is a very important point. Prepare and submit prompt replies to all your notices. Traditionally, as auditors, I think something we are very guilty of is once the date and time for the hearing is given, we'll usually go either a little late or we'll go early or we'll go the next day. There have been times where even I have done that. Hearing posted at 3:30 p.m. today. Today I have a CPA meeting or I have something at institute, I have a meeting. I'll send an adjournment notice late or I'll call the assisting officer tomorrow morning. I will say, sir, I'm sorry I could not come yesterday. May I come now? They were kind enough to tell you to come the next day also. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't submit your responses to your notices within time, it is a computerized process. 11 a.m. you have to give means if you don't submit by 11 a.m., gone. That opportunity to submit, gone. You have to give by midnight means you're not submitted by midnight, gone. Opportunity gone. Please make note. No more are the days where you can take it light. Ask your RC to send the notices to you on time. Ensure you also submit your responses on time. Finally, take up appeals seriously. I've traditionally seen in mofussil areas especially where many people, they will not go on appeal at all. They will say, sir, relationship with the officer, he'll feel bad. They will not put penalty, sir, if I don't go on appeal. He'll help me, sir. In other cases, they will help, sir. So I don't want to go on appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, no more relationship, no more helping, no more penalty discretion. Nothing is there. Everything is going to be on merits only. So straight away, if you get an adverse order, please note you have to go on appeal. If you don't go on appeal, you are doing a disservice to your client. You are doing a disservice to your client. So if you are qualified in appeals, you take it up. Otherwise, refer to some other person. Now it is a faceless era, so you can go anywhere also to represent the appeal. So ensure that your appeals are being adequately taken up and being equally represented well. So I think taking up appeals is a very, very important thing that most chartered accountants and lawyers have to do now for their associates. So I think with this, we have come to the end of the presentation. I have a very long PPT, many practical issues and case laws are there which will be useful in your cases. So reopening and other matters, your CPC matters, everything is covered here. So I'll be more than happy to share this PPT with all of you. But thank you very much for this very, very patient hearing that you have given me. Thoroughly enjoyed presenting. I thank Amritsar branch and organizers for giving me this opportunity to present. Sir, can we take up questions now?
Yes.
Yes, sure, sir. Members,
shall I read out? I saw that there are some questions which have come in the chat. So shall I start with those questions first, sir, and people can add on to that?
Can I pitch in here for a moment?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Of course.
First of all, thank you. That was a very comprehensive presentation. And I think that you've flagged the very important issues that I want to reiterate. There is going to be a change in the model for practice for advocates and CAs. In Amritsar, we've already discussed it. We've discussed that, drafting of briefs was never an area of significance. Much relied on, as you said, relationships. So we are past that relationship era now, and what's going to matter is the drafting of the brief and the supporting documentation. We're all aware that very often businessmen do not have that supporting documentation. And therefore, I want to reiterate that at least for pending appeals, do consider Vivad Se Vishwas and recommend it to your clients. You will be doing them a favor. Going forward, advise them to maintain proper records and documentation. That is all important. The new platform is called Honoring the Honest. And wherever you go, and in whatever meeting that you will attend, this is the government's single single program. If you're honest, if you're transparent, you have nothing to be afraid of. Everything will be much easier and simpler than before. However, if your documentation is not up to the mark, or if there are mistakes that have been committed, please use Vivad Se Vishwas to clean up your affairs and then move forward with strength and confidence. So Honoring the Honest is our single point program. The other issues that your speaker very wonderfully flagged, like getting good scanning equipment, is something that I cannot emphasize enough, because our assessing officers have a tough time trying to go through documents that have been uploaded and are barely legible. That is going to work against you. And even in faceless appeals, if you're deliberately uploading documents which are barely legible, you cannot expect the AO to, make out what it is that you want to convey. So that's another issue that is very well, very beautifully flagged. I also want to use this opportunity to compliment the Amritsar branch on the MOU you signed with the Khalsa College, I think it was.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's an area that you definitely need to look at, and I think you will find takers from our department as well. If there are presentations available on issues, take up an issue at a time, say, penny stock cases or depreciation or whatever. If you have modules which put forth both the pro revenue and the other decisions, then, and you could have paid modules, but you'll find a lot of takers, because a lot of assessing officers are facing problems, especially from more facile areas, in handling the large corporate cases. And they would definitely like some kind of support in terms of examining those balance sheets and preparing questionnaires. And I would request that, if you have modules, if you can update them to include the pro revenue point of view, you would have takers from the department as well. That's something we discussed in the ITF meeting also today. And we intend to request the Amritsar branch to assist us there. And finally, of course, I just want to say that, this is here to stay. Let's work together to make it successful. And your VSV window closes at the end of this month. Please do recommend it to all your clients. And I must compliment you, there were about 311 participants when I last saw. So that's quite a wonderful audience to reach out to. Congratulations for that. And thank you. It's been a pleasure listening to your speaker.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for staying till the end and listening to my entire session. It's very kind of you to do that.
I must admit, I've been clearing files, but I've been listening to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, really. So, Sanjay sir, shall I just read out the question and take the questions?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, Murali sir has asked whether reply given to NEAC will be the same assessment unit officer or some other officer who has raised this question. In my case, the same question is being asked again and again, despite of giving replies again and again. Murali sir, to clarify here, as a assessee, we are not aware of the existence of units and teams, etc. For us, we only know NEAC is there. NEAC only knows assessee is there. That's all. This team is the internal functioning. It has no bearing on us. So therefore, even though the same question is coming again and again, my suggestion to you, you give the answer again and again. It might be different teams that are asking you this. So therefore, that might be the reason why you're getting this question, or maybe the answer given is not satisfactory, one of the two. So either you give the answer enough, or you will definitely get an assessment order which will be passed, which will consider whatever answer you have given. Next, we have an assessment order where no opportunity was given. What is the remedy? Is it only appeal? Yes, sir. In that case, there is only appeal as your remedy. It's almost like a assessment ex parte order. You can go and appeal. Definitely, you will get a set aside at some stage, sir. Or the CIT appeals will consider your applications and issue a remand notice. Where there is no show cause notice, what is the procedure? There will definitely be a show cause notice, sir. If show cause notice is not there, it's ripe for appeal. If nobody is giving you a show cause notice, then go on appeal. In my view, it is a serious lack of compliance of the law. It is not a simple matter of purely another opportunity should be given to issue the show cause notice. They may consider it seriously and the case might be dismissed itself. So you have a good case in appeal. In my case, it is more than 2 months. Assessment is yet to be made. So I have seen in majority of the cases, it is fast now. The cases in between, where during the lockdown, the Faceless had started and submissions were made. Some of those cases are still hanging. I have no doubt it will be disposed of soon. And it's only a matter of time, sir. If it is taking 2 months, no problem. You relax. Once the order comes, we can get started again. If there is a patent order committed in the assessment order, can rectification be done by jurisdictional officer? Now here I have as I told you, sir, the jurisdictional assessing officer still has the power of rectification. So where there's an error apparent on record, in this case patent error you have said, it can 100% be rectified by a physical jurisdictional assessing officer, no change there. So next one is from Venkat sir. Interest under section 143(1) does not have 234, or intimation under 143(1) does not have any interest under 234A. Order under 143(3) has levied 234A of 5 lakhs. No opportunity in the portal. What is the course for rectification petition or appeal to be preferred? So in this case, you can rectify it. It's an error apparent on record. Your interest calculation is it's a matter which is purely a calculative matter. It has nothing to do, no discretionary involved. So it is only a 154 matter. You can also calculate what is the interest. Department will have a software so they can calculate and do it. Whatever is the correct interest amount, you can always do it. Doctor, due to emergency, I'm exiting. Okay, thank you so much, sir. So kind of you for the kind words. So if reply is not given within the time limit specified, what are the consequences? Will we get any reminder and new notice? Sir, if you're not responding within time, department is not straight away going to do ex parte order. They will give you an opportunity. They are also kind enough to give you 1 or 2 opportunities. But if they're giving you 2 opportunities, 3 opportunities, still you're not responding, then you deserve to get an ex parte order. So there's no doubt over there. So that is why I'm repeatedly saying, unlike the earlier days where you could tell, sir, I'll come tomorrow, I'll come next week, all that you cannot do here. It's entirely computerized. So try to ensure that you submit it. If you cannot submit, at least put adjournment. It's after all 1 line that you have to write. I request adjournment due to emergency personal issues. Put that and keep it on the record at least, so that you have record that you have sought an adjournment. Excellent presentation. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ria ma'am has asked, what is the recourse if the 234 ABC is incorrect? Ma'am, as I said, this is a matter of 154. You can go for a rectification and get it resolved. My experience has been, it's been very, very smooth. Jurisdictional officers are giving your 154s very, very quickly also. It's a matter of just pure calculation. It will be done under your jurisdictional assessing officer itself. In faceless appeals, we have filed voluminous documents covering more than 1,000 pages, now taken under faceless appeals. How to go about it? Sir, we are yet to see how that will happen. My view is if you uploaded 1,000 papers, then department will also go through it. So when you go to the next stage of appeal, if you get an adverse order, they cannot say you have not submitted at least. So that is a good thing. Practical session. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Does partial reply to a notice count as a reply made in time? And what should be the approach for asking for more time to submit replies for the remaining point? Yes, Nipun sir, you can put partial reply and you can give whatever details you have available. They will give you another opportunity to give the partial time. But if I'm having 10 submissions, all my 10 submissions are partial, then I cannot say, sir, 11th would have been full submission. Why you passed the order like that? We cannot say. They will also have a cutoff which is reasonable. So I think both parties now have to be reasonable, be it the assessee or be it the assessing officer. So partial replies, you can keep selecting every time, but try to ensure you cover the entire thing, because you should not come in the end and say full reply not given. So you'll be given that final show cause notice. Please, I think people are missing that. The final show cause notice, you can give that submission, whatever it is. So you can cover it there also. Will the taxpayer get another opportunity to upload clear copies if earlier copies are uploaded and not found to be legible or an adverse order is passed? Chandar sir, I think this is dependent on the assessing officer and sometimes the assessing officer's mood also. So if you're repeatedly uploading illegible documents, they have every right to say it is deliberate. If it is one paper amongst a group of 90 papers, then they may say, you please upload carefully. But really, I think it depends on the person to person. They will be reasonable is what I think it will be. So you might be given another opportunity. But as I said, it depends on the assessing officer and their mood also. There are cases where assessee has PAN but never registered in IT portal. How will they get intimation? Sir, it is our duty. Vijay Raghavan sir, as chartered accountant, it is our duty now. All people, we must ask them to get registered and ask them to file a return. Now you know it is not only income-based return filing. Now you have expense-based. 1 lakh electricity bill you're paying. 2 lakhs or more on foreign travel. Credit of 1 crore or 1 crore or more in current accounts. All of these are expense-based, transaction-based limits for you to file the return of income. 1 lakh electricity bill, 90% of people will get covered who have any reasonable income, sir. So my view, ask them to register. We must take up this responsibility. This is not on the income tax department, it is on auditors. So as auditors, we must take up a responsibility and create an awareness. Geeta ma'am has asked, under FLA regime, faceless assessment regime, notice received under section 250, but due to certain unavoidable reasons, 15 days adjournment requested, but no reply received. Will the assessment order be passed without giving opportunity? Geeta ma'am, if it is the first adjournment that you have asked, very likely that they will give you the adjournment. Don't worry about it. They will not pass the ex parte order. How to file an appeal in case assessee is having TAN only and not PAN, like in case of a government department? Sir, that I will send you a document along with this, how it should be done.
Sir, I can take this query.
Okay, yes sir, please.
Sir, in case of TAN, we can log in. We can log in through TAN, just like we register in PAN. Then we can file appeal through that login only, just like we registered as a PAN in income tax.
Yes, sir. Then CA Kasturi, is it mandatory to use DSC while uploading the required information in case of faceless assessment? Or should we append the signature physically? DSC is enough, or even Aadhaar OTP is enough to make the submissions, man. There's no requirement to sign it. If you're scanning certain documents, you want to sign it, you can always do it. But anyway, it is all online now. Is the assessee just given the notice department has asked for responses within specific time? Can the assessee, till he submits final response, can he submit partial responses for the time? Sir, as I said, you can submit partial, but we have to also be reasonable. We cannot make 8 or 9 submissions repeatedly saying partial, partial, partial. At some point, it has to become full. So I think as long as it is reasonable, it is okay. Sir, you have excellent qualifications. Can you share your age, sir? No, very kind of you, sir. Sir, faceless assessment, how to get stay of demand, how to approach for appeal. Sir, stay procedure has not changed. Srinivas, sir, stay procedure has not changed. It is still the same procedure. Still your physical jurisdiction assessing officer has power of stay. My view is one side department is tightening by saying faceless. So on the other side, they should be loose. So that 20% demand, there must not be as much pressure as there is today. That is my view. Because it is faceless, you have people from different teams who are analyzing. There's a final show cause notice given. So various steps and measures are taken from department side. So my hope is that the stay petition, that stay amounts, somewhere some relief should be given. Hopefully it will be given soon. As it stands, that has not changed, sir. Vipul Arora, what has happened to part heard appeals under CIT appeals and submissions filed? Demand reports are automatically transferred, faceless. It will be done de novo now. I think all questions covered, sir. Yes, I think all questions are covered. Thank you very much, all participants. Over to the organizers again.
Thank you, Abhishek ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek sir, for enlightening us on the entire scheme of faceless appeal and faceless assessment. Now I request CA Vinamar Gupta ji to kindly propose vote of thanks for our eminent speaker.
Thank you, Shashiji, for providing me this great privilege. I will just start with first a few words about CCIT ma'am. She is doing a wonderful work for this region. Like I can share a few, one of my experiences. I had one of my rectification application that was pending for, I think, last 10 to 12 years. And I thought that it will go through the life of by SSC or maybe through my life also. But just during lockdown, to my great surprise, the things got resolved. So the kind of work she is discharging. Then regarding even these faceless appeals and assessment, regarding the frivolous inquiries, or if you have certain things or you have got some feedback to give about this faceless scheme, she shared with us one email ID, that is feedback.notice.neac with us also. So that if there is any concern about this faceless scheme from the SSC side, so we can raise our concern on this email ID. So we must not only compliment for what the wonderful work she is doing, but also supplement her efforts and make this Vivad Se Vishwas scheme a success. Then Mr. Murali, he is a wonderful person, and I think this was just the deliberation on the faceless this assessment and appeals that we wanted, because we were asking our chairman for a very long time that we want a wonderful presentation, because now we are living through this this new scheme, so we need a detailed presentation on this scheme. So I will not only compliment Mr. Murali, but also my chairman for bringing Mr. Murali before us and for bringing him to this platform. And Mr. Murali, just a word about you, your qualification, the amount of work you have done, your expertise on the subject, your communication skills, and then being one of the youngest members who is representing SIRC, being one of our youngest representatives. I think you have 192 hours in a day, 8 times more than the normal of our normal hours. So I was just going through your PPT. At one point of time, in one of your PPT, I just saw there was a player who was making an appeal. So now we cannot make an appeal on a no ball. What we used to do, that we also used to make an appeal on a no ball. So we will not be doing that. So we'll be pitching our appeals only on the correct deliveries. So we'll be eagerly waiting for you to see more and more of you in the times to come. Thank you so much for such a wonderful deliberation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinamar sir. And we once again thanks Abhishek Murali, and we are seeking that you physically come to Amritsar for a seminar in the future.
Definitely. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek ji. Thank you
so much, members, for joining in this session with large number of participants. And now it's time to end this meeting. And bye to everyone and good evening.